tell us more, let's welcome in Hatem Dhiab, managing partner at Gerber Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management. Thanks for being here, Hatem.
Hi, thank you for having me.
All right, so Google announced that it'll be allowing Spotify and other app developers to offer users an alternative third-party payment option alongside Google Play option as part of its multi-year pilot program. What's your takeaway? Because Spotify reacted pretty positive initially to it, but stock's actually down a little bit here today.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's down. I thought the stock would move up quite a bit on this news. It's really one of the most significant news from a concession from a big tech company that gives Spotify the ability to have another payment system live side by side. And this saga has been playing out in courts and over the internet for many, many months now, where app developers really don't want to use the Google Store or the App Store payment system because they want to negotiate lower payments. And that Google did this is really kind of a great thing for these app developers.
Now, Hatem, is this one of those swipes against Apple, kind of cracking down, where they're making more concessions to a lot of the app developers? And this is just going to continue to ramp up at this point.
Yeah, I think this is just the beginning. It's actually not a coincidence that it's happening to Spotify, which is one of the biggest European tech companies. I think Google is getting ahead of the story here, which is basically Europe is going to start regulating the App Store or the Google Play Store. You're going to see a lot of this happen over the next few years. There is a new regulation happening in Europe called the Digital Markets Act, which we haven't seen the text yet, but I think it's coming out next month, which I think is going to start regulating some of the way that the App Store and the Play Store kind of charges and really a lot more competition. But it's Apple is the kind of the elephant in the room, and it's really everyone is going to wait. What are they going to do after this news? Because they have to do something.
Yeah, and once again, the EU leading the revolution as far as regulation goes on some of these big tech companies, which we continually see. But what does this, Hatem, what does it do for Google? Because this isn't a massive revenue generator for Google Alphabet at all compared to what Apple makes on the third-party apps. So what does this do? Does this just widen Google Alphabet's ecosystem?
I mean, listen, 70% of smartphones are using Android, so Google definitely has the bigger market. But the Play Store is not that big, really, from a revenue standpoint for Google. So it really doesn't change or move the needle for Google, per se. The elephant in the room is really Apple. I think they get 20% of their revenue from the App Store. So what I suspect, though, is that, I don't know how users will react to this. I use an iPhone, and I like being able to use Apple Pay to pay for my apps if I want to pay for it. So I don't know if the user behavior will change. So that's why I think you don't see Apple or Google stock really reacting that much to the news, because it's going to take some years, even if they allow these systems, for that to impact revenues for both companies.
Now, if you look at some of the other names within this space, who does this benefit? I read a note earlier, JP Morgan came out with a positive note for Bumble and Match due to this collaboration and partnership and expansion of it. Do you see any other stocks or areas that this will help?
I think every company that really charges Netflix, every company that charges really any subscription fees through an app store will do really well here, or at least be able to negotiate some of the fees. If you go back to Spotify, the problem with Spotify is their margins are very low for a tech company, and they already are accused of not paying artists enough. So for them to be able to reduce their fees they receive is going to tremendously improve their margins. So it'd be a really, really good thing for them. And I think that's the case for a lot of these apps that charge a subscription fee or a monthly fee. So yeah, I mean, there's millions of apps that will benefit. Epic, maker of Fortnite, comes to mind. They're not publicly traded, but they've been huge vocal and legal contenders to really remove these fees. And I think today they're probably feeling pretty good about what happened.
Yeah, one more catalyst in the battle between the app developers and some of these owners of the app stores. All right, great stuff, Hatem. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
That's Hatem Dhiab, managing partner at Gerber Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management. Thanks for joining us.